All right, so this is, yeah, so the event this weekend isn't like a Magic Grand Prix. It's run by people who think coverage should happen at all of their tournaments. So Nerd Rage Gaming, who's actually the people that are right down there on my scrolling banner at the moment, the Championship Series, they stream a $5,000 cash tournament that they run every single month. So they are running a modern tournament in Iowa this weekend that I'll be playing at on Saturday. I'm going to be playing Elves there, and you'll be able to follow streaming coverage of that at twitch.tv/NRG Series all day Saturday. If you're not too into Modern, their tournament next month in June is going to be Standard, which I'm also going to be playing at, because that one's relatively close to me as well. Where in Iowa? I wish I knew offhand, but I'm not driving, and I didn't book the hotel. I'm just, like, riding along as a tail to Matthew this weekend. So if you type NRG Events, I think is the command. Yeah, you can find the link there. Cedar Rapids, there you go. Anywho, Blue-Red Wizard. So people, you're probably familiar with my stream if you're here a little bit, that a lot of the decks that I play are viewer-submitted decks. Sorry, I didn't catch the mute quite quick enough there. It snuck up on me. In addition to playing specific deck lists that people submit, I also do what I refer to as build-around submissions for a little bit more. So someone asked me if I could explicitly build a Dreadhorde Arcanist plus a Zizdil, the Cinder Win deck, and that's what we have here. So this is my attempt at a blue-red wizard-style deck. So we've got some aggressive elements here. In burn spells, we've got some cantrips, and then I've got one cheeky Naru here at the top end, which makes all of our wizards get +1/+1, which is sweet. She can also fork our random cheap cantrips and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here and see how this one ends up feeling. Could be okay, could be terrible. Let's find out together, shall we? I mean, like, you can play a Charter Course first, Double Hawk. You don't, Charter Course doesn't have to be a draw 2. It could just be a draw 2, discard 1. There's only one 4-mana wizard, and you're definitely going to hit 4 lands in a lot of your games with this deck. I did consider it, but it seemed less aggressive than some of the other options. Maybe something like Siren Stormtamer is not good, but, like, this card on 1 into Charter Course on 2 is, like, really reasonable. So I think this is fine. Yep. Howdy, Patrick. Morning. Could be Bant Nexus, could be some kind of Bant Flash Brew. Sure, maybe Dunk Daddy. I actually have a build-around submission in the queue for Soul Type, or for Green-Black Expo, and maybe we'll try it as Soul Type, oh? Yeah, maybe Ace Crusher. There's a ton of different wizards in this format. And by no means do I think I've built the ideal version of this deck. This is just the first draft that I thought about. So it's what we're playing here on stream today. So generally speaking, you want to be very proactive in a deck like this, and counter spells tend to be more reactive. So a lot of my cards are cards that are just like trying to end the game. They're gonna get to untap with Teferi here, which probably means we're dead. One of my main concern about this deck is, can it be built in a way that's just not bad mono red? So, like, someone in chat had mentioned building the deck as a more base red deck, and well, I think that could potentially be okay. I think it kind of just drags you in the direction of being a bad mono red deck, and I tried not to just build a strictly bad mono red deck. I'm not done yet. Like I said, it could very well be that this card and Azistal are just, like, not constructed playable together. There's a reason why we haven't seen these cards. There's probably a reason why we haven't seen them up until this point, but especially early in the standard season, I like to cater to a variety of ideas to sometimes we get surprised when we put something new together. Hey, the J-Rock, thank you for the 5-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me here. So Teferi's not quite as Kanta, but usually it's lights out.
We need to move quickly.
I mean, Marty, I'm dead on the inside because I'm playing against Wilderness Reclamation, but I'm not sure if we're dead in this game yet. That's the thing. Bant Bolus looks like it has the appropriate number of things on my screen here. When I click into it. If you're trying to export it directly off the on-screen widget, maybe click through to their website. Board in some counter spells, board in some anti-draw cards. You too, Socio Penguin. So feel free to take a peek and let me know. Mezeeps, I removed your message there. As moving forward, we're going to try and keep politics to a minimum in chat. And by to a minimum, I mean out of chat altogether, although I may still occasionally rant myself, because sometimes I can't contain myself. There's a trash can that deletes the message. There isn't on my screen, Marty. That was always my favorite part. My favorite part of it, people are like, when I would read feedback, people were like, Jeff's such a hypocrite. He breaks his own rules. I'm like, people are so silly. Like, this is my house. I am the god here. I am the dictator. There are rules, and I am allowed to do what I want. Both of those things can be true. There are rules for chat, and I am also simultaneously allowed to do what I want. Oh, is there a setting that says show mod icon? I have show moderation action. Oh no! Oh, stupid. Dang it. I accidentally blew up my popped out chat. Sorry, hold on. Technical difficulties on the streamer's end. Thanks for the 8 months. Welcome back. I mean, like, it's an okay aggro start, right? We get to Lightning Strike them next turn and they're dead. Right? Lightning Strike is worth 6 plus 5. It's actually lethal, right? Because it's 5. That's great. Alright, knowing they're bringing in Deputy, I'm going to board these Wizards Lightnings back in. I want lots of ways to kill that card. Damar, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one. No, I'm not qualified for the Invitational this time through, Wubwin. The Invitational invites don't stack up anymore. You can only qualify for the next one. And I haven't played any Opens this season. Have a good one, Monster Man. Hand's a little bit slow, but it's got Narset on 3 as a hate card, so maybe it's okay. It's a good pickup. Gives us something meaningful to do on 2. Yeah, probably, Mark. I think we're going to try a Sultai Bow deck at some point. Maybe tomorrow, even. Maybe tomorrow, even. I plan to run till about 4 or 5 o'clock today, but as a heads up, I do plan to end a little bit earlier tomorrow, probably about 2:30. Because Matt and I are leaving about 3 to head to Iowa to play in the Paper Magic tournament. Because it is possible to play in Paper Magic tournaments on occasion while still streaming full-time.
I know my responsibility. Let's try this.
Yeah, Matt's doing commentary. This stops this from working, right? You may cast, and this says you can only cast anytime you can cast a sorcery. So that's not ideal. So let's do this, because this makes their bounce worse.
Keep an open mind.
So, my instinct was to go shock, flashback, shock, kill this, but I actually can't flashback, shock. I mean, streaming's just, like, not that different from any other full-time job, right? Like, there's plenty of people who, like, have full-time jobs and, like, play Paper Magic tournaments. In fact, most people who play Paper Magic tournaments have full-time jobs, right? You just, like, make time for things you like.
Here goes nothing.
Meditate and prepare.
Do you have any opinions on the Magic Promotional League with the recent announcements? So, someone should probably clip this, because I have a really short, concise thing. So clip after this. My thoughts on the recent changes of the additions to the MPL are that I think that changing mid-season to how they're adding people to the event is not ideal. I think it's a change from the people that they had invited previously. However, I think in general, having slots that include inviting women and having slots that include inviting popular streamers are a smart thing to do. I think both representation is important, and I also think that having people that bring in eyes is good for the game and just a smart thing. Like, almost certainly a reason why the Invitational had so many viewers was because there were a lot of big names playing in it.
Worst defeat.
I think the big issue with it is that it feels like they've pivoted mid-season to how they're slotting people into the MPL. Alright, so do I want to hold up Stroke here? Do I want to hold up Stroke, or do I want to just, like, YOLO jam this? I think I want to hold up Stroke. Nah, I think Monday I'll just say no changes in all formats. As always, one of my life mottos is low expectations is the key to not being disappointed in life. So, I expect Monday to say no changes in all formats. Well, that's a good reason not to just jam this. Hope for the best, expect the worst is a great life motto to live by. Firmly agree on that. I'd ban Wilderness Reclamation in Standard, not close. I'd also unban Stoneforge in Modern if they let me, but, you know, neither here nor there. Definitely care about Standard more and would ban Reclamation. Everyone else except for Jeff seems to be very mad about the MPL stuff. I mean, like, change is scary, right? Like, the stuff that's happening around the MPL is different. People are saying that, like, competitive Magic is changing. Yeah, it is. The thing a lot of people don't seem to get for whatever reason is that competitive Magic has never been the thing that sustained Magic in the long term. The thing that sustained Magic for all these years is the casual players. Just the truth of it.
I really should have seen that coming.
They talk about the London Mulligan on Monday, hopefully. Alright, so I think I just do this here, and then this sets me up for lethal next turn, most likely, right? Because next turn, I get to Lightning Strike them, and then this flashes back Lightning Strike, and then they're dead. Thanks for the clip. Have you ever tried throwing up reruns on the days you're not streaming when you usually would be? Nah, I think reruns are stupid. I don't understand why you would want to watch a rerun rather than just like open my YouTube channel or like go back through my highlights. Alright, so if this Narset hits a burn spell, they're dead, right? Let's do that.
I have practiced against many with thoughtfulness before.
I mean, maybe they net me a bit more money. Like, would people actually watch them? Like, I guess my big argument is, what's the meaningful, someone give me a meaningful reason why you would watch a rerun as opposed to just watching on my YouTube channel or watching a past highlight. They don't have green mana up for Root Snare. Like, I get that reruns, like, kinda make sense for... Elo Savan, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Like, I don't know, why would you want to watch it when you can't, like if it's pre-recorded anyways, wouldn't you want to be able to, like, pause it when you have something come up or something? Like, you also don't have to go to YouTube chat. You can, like all of my stuff is clipped up on my Twitch highlights. I don't know. I'd rather educate and inform people that watch my content that my YouTube and my website exist and empower people to make better decisions rather than like shove Twitch reruns down their throat. Sure, but the Twitch, so for reference, this is a good thing for people to know. If you're someone that doesn't want to wait for my YouTube stuff to pop up, if you're someone that's waiting for my YouTube stuff to pop up in between when I sign off and when it publishes, so there's like a 3 to 4 hour delay there a lot of the time. My stuff gets clipped into Twitch highlights almost instantly. Like usually it's less than half an hour. Like it's the very first thing I do after I sign off. I like use the bathroom and then like clip everything up. Because clipping it up on Twitch is the first step to exporting it to YouTube. Jin, thanks for the 28 months. Welcome. You having a work from home day today? Hope your new job's going well. Yeah, I think for like people who are like less organized than me that like don't have things set up and like well sorted, like maybe reruns make sense instead of just getting organized. But like for someone like me that has everything put together, like I really don't see the appeal of like running a rerun. No, I don't think it would work with reruns, dude. Like no, the overlays definitely wouldn't work with reruns. Because the overlays work by me playing live and it reading from the log file live. Sure, but like, if you can't decide what to watch and you want my content, you could just like pull up the playlist on my website and do it that way, right? I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think the only people reruns would help are people that are probably like too lazy to take like 30 seconds to look around. And like, I don't know, do I really need to cater to people that can't take 30 seconds to look around? What's my favorite saying? You can drown a horse in water trying to make it drink. There is already a best every single day I tag 1 to 2 decks almost that I consider my best deck of the day. So again, if you think something sounds like a good idea for my channel, there's probably a good chance I'm already doing it, and maybe on the off chance I'm not, I'll start doing it, but I feel like I have all the bases covered at this point. Anything that doesn't take an incredible amount of effort, I feel like I'm doing. I mean, like, I'm always interested in, like, entertaining things that are meaningful. I just, like, genuinely don't think playing reruns adds meaningful value. I usually tell the good decks by the length of the videos. Thanks for the bite size. No, so and when I started working through the logistics of running sub-tournaments, it's just not feasible until we have a tournament thing in client or like spectator mode set up. Because the purpose of running sub-tournaments would be to make content out of it. Until we have a spectator mode, I just can't make content out of it. I think wearing nicer socks would greatly improve the stream. I might have something for you in that area very soon, actually. Spoilers. They're taking my Azizdal. That's rude. Have they ever addressed spectator mode? I mean, I'm almost certain spectator mode is something they want to do, but I'm also almost certain, like, they're just, like, a bandwidth, like, feature. It is, I can say pretty confidently at this point that Arena blew up much faster than they were ever expecting it to blow up. And that's why...
This looks like a fun new toy.
That's why they're struggling to get all these things together, like the MPL and all that jazz. Hey, Digitech, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, so we're gonna Lightning Strike her, and we're gonna Naru copy the Lightning Strike. Ride the lightning, baby. So double strike, and then Dreadhorde's gonna attack and flash back a shock and kill their Azizdal. And like again, this is one of the reasons why Liliana's kind of awkward, right? Like I killed their Liliana and now she doesn't draw anything. What do you think of the idea of where people donate to play a match against you on a certain day of the week and maybe you give live coaching? It's just tough because I have to figure out what's a fair and reasonable way to price that at. Because like, so like on one side I think that's a really sweet idea, but on the other side if you like look at my deck queue, even streaming, you know, 50 hours a week recently, my deck queue currently has 45 standard decks in it. So it's like, well, while I think that's a great idea, I also think, did I miss Lethal? I might have missed Lethal. I'm not sure. Alright, so this is gonna go here. This is gonna go at them. And then Dreadhorde, I've got another shock in here. So Dreadhorde's gonna shock this. This kills here. This hits them. I'm gonna play this land, because otherwise I'm gonna discard it to Eldest Reborn. I'm guessing go in a Phoenix deck. I don't know. It just like dies a lot.
I protect that which cannot protect itself.
Yeah, that's fair, Zach, because now I don't have another shock to flash back. That's brutal. Hey, Bronick, thanks for the 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, maybe, Nivik. It just becomes more to manage, and like managing things like that equate to stream downtime, and stream downtime means I have to either give more times to decks, or I have to, and downtime means viewers become less interested, etc., etc. There's just a lot of logistics. And it's just like, again, like, doing something like that, it has to be meaningfully better than, like, doing what I already do, because, like, I know what I'm doing now is, like, fine. Have I been doing 6 days a week still? Kinda. I mean, I was sick this week for part of it. And I am gonna take off this weekend because I'm going to the event. Always gotta keep it. I mean, at a certain point, you're just like, I don't know, I'm comfortable with what I do and I make enough money at what I do, so it's like, do I really gotta innovate more? I don't really know what I want to do here. Their deck's kind of a brew. Maybe these negates are fine just because, like, they have a bunch of expensive, like, Planeswalkers and Eldest Reborns. I can see that being okay. The Mechanical Thought Turk, thank you for the 4-month resub. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have a paper copy of the deck I'm playing sitting in a box upstairs. If you stop innovating, you become KitchenAid pictures, which haven't changed since the 70s. Do you want to be kitchen? I mean, I kind of do, right? I mean, like, I change season to season just by nature of the fact that I'm playing different decks and the formats rotate, right? I mean, we didn't see Hydroid Crisis out of them. Turtle Witness is the thing. With great power comes great responsibility. Secret Muffin coming in hot with the 12-month resub. Have a sword to go with your shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Check out some of our options here. Hey, Telegraph. Thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. For the Absian Bow deck, sounds good. I miss Hex sometimes too, Jin. Hex did a lot of things in terms of gameplay design that were just like uniquely very good. Hey, now, Jin, we averaged like... I averaged like 150 or 200 viewers with Hex. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've actually talked about that before, Chewy, but again, it just like all comes down to bandwidth. So I've talked about doing stuff like that with Matt or my buddy Kent, but it basically comes down to like, if I'm already drowning in donation decks, like, it was a ton of viewers for Hex. I was the most watched Hex streamer by a good margin.
I grow bored of this fight.
Alright, so they're at 14 and I've got 9 points in my hand, so that's pretty good. So, people asked to be timed out as what can almost be considered an old meme on this channel at this point. So, back before we had a sub-only chat a couple of months ago, in order to maintain a certain level of constructiveness in the chat, I would aggressively time people out, not only people who were rude, but I would also time people out who were just off topic and like posting what I considered clutter in chat. And people would often get very upset that we had timed them out, and they would go off on rants about me being a tyrant and ruining their free speech, just like all this very melodramatic nonsense just because they couldn't post in a Twitch chat for 10 minutes. So a lot of the regulars would request complimentary timeouts whenever that would happen as a way of saying, haha, see, a timeout's not a big deal. Tutors, thanks for the half a year. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I talked about Burning Prophet earlier, Rexbox, if you weren't here to start. There's just a lot of cards in this format. And like, what does Burning Prophet replace? Why did we replace that with Burning Prophet? Like, this is very much the first draft of a deck, and it's almost certainly not ideal, but it's where I'm starting. And after we play some matches with this deck, we can talk about what felt good, what felt bad, maybe what we want to change in the future. Yeah, Stormtamer just negated Enter the God Eternals. Beam me up, Scotty. Pop the timeout, Cherry. In fact, I'd be willing to venture a guess that this channel has more subs timed out than just like any other channel in the history of Twitch at this point. it does have 2 targets, but this says it targets a you or a creature you control. And that targeted both me and a creature they control. Today I learned at sub mode chat. Yeah, and like, I wasn't sure if moving to sub-only chat would be a good move, but like, we have enough subs here, thankfully, that, like, the chat still keeps moving. And there's even some times where I lose track of chat in sub-only mode, so it's been a worthwhile change. It's been good for my mental health, too. I genuinely didn't realize when I was slogging through timing out off topic and then dealing with people who got upset when they got timed out for being off topic, how much it, like, annoyed and frustrated me. I definitely think the content's better since that changed. A lot of people have agreed with that, so net positive overall. And it gives the regulars who are here that support me more attention, which is great. The people who pay my bills deserve the extra attention. Maybe I'm supposed to keep that Stormtamer because I don't have a threat currently, but like I also couldn't play it on one. So like 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. Well, I mean, pretty much anyone of any size, like anybody who has like 100 or more viewers probably wants to put in follower only mode just because it cuts down on spam. That's true too. In fact, my sub count is currently at an all-time high. Excluding when we did the push for pink hair, like obviously we're well below that absurd number, but so I think going sub only because I'm so good at interacting with chat, like pushed a few people over the edge of like, all right, I should sub to Jeff because I like him to interact with me. You're the most organized streamer I've ever witnessed in the game, and I've watched a lot. Just wanted to let you know I and others appreciate the professionalism you bring to this. Well, thanks for keeping me here, Invictus. Because y'all subscribe to the channel, you allow this to be my job, and I think it's only respectful that I treat it as such. Clearly, you need another push for pink hair. I wasn't always this fan of this channel, but you've mellowed a lot in the last year, and you interact really constructively and positively now, and that wasn't the case before. You've gone from a streamer I love to hate to just being a streamer who produces quality content with a great attitude. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate that. And I definitely think I burned more than a few bridges. Like, there's people that are just, like, never gonna look at my stuff again and just, like, spew vitriol about things that I did from, like, years ago. And, like, a lot of people, I think, don't realize that, like, people change over time, right? I've never done, like, anything truly abhorrent like some people, but, like, I was more than a bit of a dick on a few occasions. I think a lot of people also don't realize I'm as young as I am. So, like, I'm only 28. So, like, I think if you judge everyone based on the person that they are when they were, like, 21, 22, 23, a lot of people are, like, kind of dicks as a descriptor at that age. I sub because WotC messes with you on a personal level. Well, I appreciate that. I've been the same dude since I was 3. No longer in the first rodeo, that's for sure.
You are a mighty warrior. I concede.
I think a big part of it too, and this is gonna sound maybe a little bit egotistical, but I think part of why I was such a turd when I was younger is because I was a little bit too smart for my own good. So like a lot of people don't know this, but like I started college when I was 16. I finished my master's degree a little bit after I turned 21. I have a master's in mathematics, so like there's a lot of situations where like I was almost always the smartest person in the room growing up. So like that didn't translate well in terms of my attitude interacting with other people in the real world. Hey, Sanguimonious, thank you for the 2-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I mean, there's definitely truth to any publicity is good publicity to a degree. I am 28. My birthday is in January. I'll be 29 next year. All right, probably dead. Probably dead. I am January 7th for people that want to compare birthdays. All right, 1 and 1. On to the next one. Thanks, DMS. Use Bandage. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Yeah, this is fine, right? Opt on 1, this on 2, some interaction. Two non-foils, right? These basic lands, they shall be our greatest shame. Did anybody know? They said they posted a state of the beta. The state of the beta mentioned foil basics. Really feel like they need to get on this whole foil basic thing. I think I want all of my burn spells in this matchup. It mentioned selectable basics. All right, that's a step in the right direction. Selectable basics is a step towards foil basics, chat. You're actually not that out in the cold, Jinx Choker. So Twitch doesn't do estimated age ranges, but YouTube does. And I bet my YouTube data translates to Twitch pretty well. And like the largest age range that watches my content from, based on the metrics estimations, is actually 25 to like 34, and then I believe the 10 years above that is the next most after that, followed by 10 years below that. Yeah, I heard just clocks. Yeah, my wife's 2 years older than I am. We actually met when I was 16, but we didn't start dating till I was almost 19. Yeah, I agree, just a box. I would estimate that. I also think that like I would be willing to bet that arena 7 from heaven, the day 9 TV, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I need a soundboard with a little round of applause when I say that. I'm sure most of you here know that Day 9 needs no introduction, but he's great stuff and streams a lot of wonderful magic as well. Welcome back, Day. Hope you're having a good one. We are playing against Jeff. We are playing against Jeff Magic. I missed that, actually. Alright, so I'm going to do this pre-combat. They try and shock this, they're about to be very sad. Oh, get him. Get him! Yay, the stack! Yay, the stack. That's fine. So, this could add a point of damage, but I think I'd rather draw an extra card. Alright, tapped. I promise did you know Jeff wins the Jeff mirror match 100% of the time? You know, I'm gonna be honest, Double E Hawk. I haven't read the paper underneath that article, so I don't really feel like I'm equipped to discuss it in like a meaningful way. Alright, I think we're a little bit ahead at the moment. However, their deck likely has like Chandra and Experimental Frenzy in it, so they definitely have top decks that can pull them back in here. Unless they draw. So, fun fact. When I was playing my peak amounts of competitive Magic, I was logging, I think like upwards of 500 sanctioned matches of Magic per year. And in those years, playing 400 to 500 sanctioned matches of Magic per year, I would unintentionally draw less than half a dozen. I think actually fewer than 5. I have to go back and check. I have a stat log somewhere, but it was very, very few. I play Magic very quickly. I am definitely a person who would much rather lose to making a mistake playing too fast than to draw.
Let's light it
up. Choices. This card is so good. I think I have to kill this. It's going to deal 5 to me, though, so it's like I die to a burn spell. So, like, in a competitive setting, that depends. A couple people were saying the state of the beta was failing to load, so I haven't dove into it yet. So this is going to grab a shock, which kills the Chandra, but definitely Python. If you go on my GitHub page, I haven't touched a lot of that recently, but all of the projects that I started personally were Python based. And then there's also like some random C and Bash up there from projects I inherited or forked, but mostly Python. Yeah, if someone has a working state of the beta link, feel free to link it in chat. Always remember, if you're new here, links are enabled. The chat rules are act like an adult, you'll be treated like an adult. So I think I only attack with this, because this way if I opt into a burn spell, I can kill this and not be dead on board. Oh, wait, that saves me, right? That saves me? Well, it makes me not dead on board, which is better than being dead on board. As someone who did most of his programming learning as like a teenager, Python really helped me learn good formatting while doing programming work, because it forced me, Python caring about white space forced me to like organize a little bit as opposed to just having it be cluttered, which is nice. And Python's biggest strength is just the fact that like you want to do task X, and you can Google and find something how to do that task. Like, if you want a library to do something, that library probably already exists. Well, this counters the tap sack, Rigel. That's why I kept it. This counters the tap sack. All right, so do I attack with this? I don't think I do. I think I just play. I think I leave this back, because that way I'm not dead to a haste creature. Also, for the sake of doing nothing other than to incite people in chat, 4 spaces are superior to tabs. Fight me. Hey, nice, Peanut. Congrats. I assume I have a high, there's usually a high volume of programmers in Magic chats, and like, this is something programmers are very opinionated on from my experience. Can we get a poll going? Pulled out to it. Is 4 spaces the Python standard? I'm going to be honest and tell you I don't know at this point. It's been a while. We need to put a poll up on the website. This is very important. What does Hoaglandia think about tabs versus spaces? Next week, I'm interviewing for an entry-level software engineering job with embedded systems. Any tips? You know, I honestly haven't interviewed for a software development job in a really long time. A lot of software companies these days like to do these like random brain teaser type questions, which are complete and total BS in my opinion. But that's like the industry standard or becoming the industry standard, which is annoying. So I'd probably encourage you to look up some of the norms for that and study up. We lived, I mean, to be fair, we had my boy Siren Stormtamer holding down the fort, right? That's actually true. Remember how I said there's a ton of programmers in Magic chats on average? There's also a ton of them in the sub-Discord by extension, and there's a career assistance channel in there where a lot of people chime in that are familiar with things like that and are willing to lend advice there. Listen, my site is just a WordPress template. I take no responsibilities for it. My website is like cobbled together by Google searches and duct tape, okay? I have no strong opinions on web development. That's just me cobbling together what I can on my own. Have a good one, Esper. Read Cracking the Coding Interview. Yeah, I've actually heard mention of that book before, C. Freeman. Now that you mention its name, that's probably... I've seen that exact title mentioned in other places. Because a lot of those interview questions, I assume, follow a series of certain things. Your tweaks to the red-white metal deck made it much better. I beat an RDW player last night at 1 health by having both Shalai and Taijik. That's awesome. Such a good soft combo. All the timeouts have drawn to the Twitch staff. Hide the beams, the staff are here. If you want help, I could design your website. I have absolutely no experience, but I'm good at brain teasers. State of the beta works for you now. It does. Okay, maybe we'll go through that together after this match. Thank you. Seems like pretty good, right? I have to shock, which hurts a little bit against the red aggro deck, but like I've got a bunch of cheap removal and I have a turn 1 play. That's not the basic I wanted. We're getting stained glass art for walkers. That's exciting. So, I'm going to hold on to this Lava Coil. Because if my red opponent has Rekindling Phoenix in their sideboard, they're very likely to bring it in this matchup, I think. Can a Nexus deck win 2 games with a chess clock? I don't know, but I bet on this stream we're going to be finding out. I am, as someone who has timed out many a people on Magic Online before, I look forward to doing it on Magic Arena. Huh? Texas Sniper, thanks for the 2-1-3 sub, I appreciate that. Welcome back. So the coils are there not only because they're good against potential phoenixes, but just like having removal to keep their board clear in this matchup is valuable. They made a PvE mode to get people into the war story. That's awesome. PvE mode and having it a way to earn meaningful things are awesome additions. Let's link that state of the command in the article. I think I'm going to keep the 4th land at this point. I think I want to be able to double spell next turn. I think there's a good chance this just dies, so I'm just going to go ahead and Lightning Strike this here, rather than play this out, have it die, and then get hit for 2. Also, if I Lightning Strike this here, they might Wizard Lightning me in response, and then not have this anymore. Did they mention this card in the state of the beta? Please tell me they mentioned this card in the state of the beta and fixing this bug. This card's been bugged for way too long. So I shouldn't have played that 5th land out. I'm going to hold on to this for now because there's still copies of Charter Course in my deck. So if I draw a Charter Course, I'd like to be able to have a bad card to discard to it. What's bugged about it? If you don't click here to put a stop, it skips through to their combat phase, which makes them a token right away. And there's situations where if you're not expecting it, you don't have a chance to put a stop there. Yeah, the way priority surrounding the card is bugged. No, it's actually bugged. The way Arena skips certain priority stops automatically to make the gameplay go quickly doesn't work how you'd want it to work with that card. Okay, so that's fair. So maybe it's gonna be patched and they're just like, they just didn't mention it because they don't explicitly mention bugs. I can see that. This game's been a good example of we just drew way too much interaction and not enough threats. Thanks, Popticon. I appreciate it. And for people that haven't had a chance or don't want to click off the stream, after we finish this game here, or this match, sorry, there might be a 3rd game, I do plan to pull up the state of the beta on screen and watch it together. Usually they're only like a few minutes. So we're gonna take 5 minutes to watch and then discuss together. For people that don't want to click away but wanna catch up on what they announced today. Yeah, I guess I technically shouldn't do that. I want to leave blue up. Am I dead? 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Yep, sounds about average. Well, these lava coils looking less good than they otherwise could be. If we don't see phoenixes, I might board down on these. Yep. Hey, look. Found a target for my lava coil. That's gonna close real fast. I am not going to play Wizard Lightning this turn, because if they draw a haste threat, I want to be able to kill it. Am I dead? We lived at 1 for a while last game, so, you know, fair's fair. Alright, I'm gonna split the difference on these and board some more Negates, and I think. Let's do that. Nice, Roscoe. Welcome, welcome. Do you take build around requests to convert best of 1 decks to best of 3? Depending on the deck. So like, so long as it's not like trying to use Mastermind's Acquisition or like 4 mana Karn that takes up the sideboard, you can usually convert them. Yeah, that's something I'm willing to do for sure. Yeah, Jin, if you're willing to take a little bit of time here and there. Lots of great stuff in there. If for people, since we were talking about the Discord, that usually means a few new people join. When you join the Discord, you're probably going to be overwhelmed by the number of channels. But just like everything else I do, things are very organized in there. So I'd encourage you to take like 2 or 3 minutes and look over all the channels and their descriptions, and then mute the ones that you don't care about. Because very likely there are a number of channels in the server you're just going to have no interest in participating in, and just mute those so they don't pop up for you. Yeah, Karn the Great Creator decks don't unfortunately translate to best of 3 because you just need your sideboard slots here. That's true, Ventfaith. Some are even bigger than ours. But I do think, like, I poke through every channel on occasion to make sure people are behaving, but I don't have all of them constantly flowing for me either. There's something like EDH, for instance, I have no interest in. Will Green-Black Citadel be adversely affected by the chess clock like Nexus when it comes on? I don't know. You can probably go pretty quickly through it. Yep. Yeah, you can even... Discord even has a feature to hide muted channels so they don't appear in your sidebar as faded out. Hide muted channels is the real MVP. How do you organize your paper cards? Well, I have... My paper magic cards are in this pile here in front of me that I keep in my shuffling deck. And then I have a deck box over here that has some full art basic lands that I didn't get rid of. And then I have a couple of framed paper magic cards, but I really don't have a lot of paper magic cards. Is the takeaway from this. I think I'd rather put this into play tapped and play this a turn later rather than give them 2 points of damage in this matchup. Especially because they could have like a Chain Whirler next turn and that would be really bad for me. What do I have framed? I have a couple of different framed cards. I have a Nissa Trader of Get, which was a card that propelled me to my first SCG Open top 8. And I have a framed Spellstutter Sprite. And at some point, I'm going to frame Resto, Kiki, and Cord together. Is Nissa Trader is green-black Trader, right? If I recall correctly. Oh, Nissa. Glissa. I definitely said Nissa. It's definitely Glissa, though. Poor Glissa. It's been so long I forgot her name. I swear I still love you, Glissa. You gave me my first taste of success. Alright, and this game's going much better, right? We had a mix of Disruption and a Clock this game. When's Frilled Mystic getting framed? I should probably get a foil Frilled Mystic to frame. That's true. That card is my spirit animal this season. They're dead on my untap, right? 4+5. What deck was Glissa in? Sultai Glissa Control. Top 8'd in Des Moines, Iowa on Easter weekend. Circa 2012, I believe. Trader of Gets also collect. I just have no idea what this card is called, and I have it framed somewhere. Yeah, that's the one, Glissa Control. So, for people that might remember that standard format, that deck was actually a great example of being on a level 3 deck in a tournament format. So, people that would like a Magic history lesson of what was going... Oh, I forgot about the state of the beta. I'm sorry, I queued again. Sorry, I'm gonna play one more now, obviously, and then we'll do State of the Beta. I apologize. I started coughing and talking and I forgot. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait in bated breath for like 15 more minutes. No, so activate at any time you could cast a sorcery means you could only activate it during your main phase while the stack is empty. That's what it's shorthand for. Okay, so the Glissa story. So the Glissa deck was a great example of being on what I would refer to as a level 3 deck. And what I mean by a level 3 deck is the best deck in that format was a blue-white Delver deck, which meant a bunch of people for that tournament showed up playing black-white tokens as the level 2 deck to beat the best deck in the format. And then my Glissa deck happened to have 3 Ratchet Bombs in the main deck and a 4th Ratchet Bomb in the sideboard. So, like, my like, awkward brew just slaughtered the tokens deck that, like, a third of the room showed up with to try and beat the Delver decks that were, like, half the room. So, I top 8'd that tournament because I ended up playing against tokens decks a bunch that just, like, could never beat my main deck Ratchet Bombs. Yeah, Ratchet Bomb was also, like, the deck was, like, okay versus Delver, but it was, like, it just slaughtered tokens. Yeah, it's similar to Blast Zone, but it starts at 0, so it can kill tokens. Yeah, that was the second open I played in. To give you some inspiration if you're a newly starting competitive Magic player, I top 8'd the second open I played that deck in. The first open I played that deck in, though, I went 1, 3, and 2. I won 1 match, lost 3, and unintentionally drew twice. Correct, Punchworthy. And Glissa triggered when tokens died. Why did I draw twice? This was my first large competitive Magic tournament, Tom. I was playing a mid-range deck, and I was just playing slowly because I didn't understand what was going on. Do you have data on how much of your audience is in STEM? One of the draws to your channel was your vocabulary decision-making has a strong mathematical foundation. Well, I think Magic players in general tend to lean towards STEM-style backgrounds, in my experience. Alright, so we're gonna Lightning Strike you. We're gonna Lightning Strike you. We're gonna attack with both of these and shock you. It's like a pretty decent turn. Is this deck okay? We're kind of like dismantling this white deck here. We like got beat up by the Sultai mid-range deck, but decks like this tend to be bad against Sultai. Yeah, they had a pretty okay draw. Their turn 2 wasn't impressive, but they had like 1-drop into 1-drop into double history here. So it's not like they were batting too far below average. It is unfortunate that at the moment I don't have any other 1-drops in here.
You show remorse. I'll show distress. Oh, I've done.
I mean, could we have that bad of wrong half problem, Sharps? Like, our deck, what's the word I'm searching for? Our deck, like, is burn spells for the other half, right? Yeah, I have a Masterpiece Servant framed as well. That's true. I forgot about that one. Do I kill this or do I kill this? I'm gonna kill this. gonna offer a trade here on whatever they want. Any thoughts to maximize velocity in this deck for Arcanist? Maybe. So, someone earlier had mentioned the wrong half problem, which for people that are newer to Magic, that refers to drawing an incorrect mix of cards. And by not playing targeted pump spells like Maximize Velocity or Samut Sprint, we kind of insulate ourselves against having those wrong half draws because we don't have cards that are situationally good, basically. So I think in a matchup like this, I actually want to board into a control deck, if that makes sense. Or like, not a full control deck, obviously, but more controlling than I am to start. So like, this makes a bunch of blockers, Lava Coil's extra removal. That 1/3 is just a good stat line on here. Yeah, Melody is very good against, Melody is very good against their Night tokens. Do I just cut Viashino Pyromancer? It's kind of the worst stat line of all my creatures, right? Hey, Saint Faith, thanks for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Do I want to trim this? I guess maybe I don't want all of these at the top end because I'm adding in more 3-drops and I want to keep my curve low. Maybe I split the difference here and go 2 and 2. I don't hate that. This finishes off, their Planeswalker too, which is nice. I think this seems fine. The new Planeswalkers with passive abilities are awesome, Roscoe. Don't worry, they're going to be around for a while, right? We got like 2 years. You like her more than Pyromancer? Yeah, I can see that. She's a 1/3 as well too, right? So she like plays defense okay. A couple other people had mentioned the Prophet. I could see her being better than the 2/1 potentially. Are you frame cards typically the ones you actually played, or do I buy near mint ones to put in actual frames? I don't remember actually. No, I definitely know I've definitely played with the ones that are framed. Thinking about it, definitely played with the ones that are framed. And my my Glissa that's framed actually, Steve Argyle does the artwork on the promo Glissa, and when he signs, when he would sign multicolored cards, he would sign them in both colors of the cards. So she has an artist signature in green and black, which is sweet. The idea of intentionally drawing when it comes to the end of Swiss, it can be intimidating to seasoned tournament players asking newer players when they want to draw into top 8. I don't have it handy in my room down here, but I'll have to grab it so I can show it off sometime. I think they might actually still be in the garage. We're not fully unpacked. We've lived in this house for 4 months, but believe it or not, we're not fully unpacked yet. Well, I mean, the easiest way to explain drawing to the person talking about explaining drawing to newer players is you can explain when draws mathematically lock you in for top 8. And if you do some Google searches, there's a ton of articles out there that like break down and explain tiebreaker math. And basically, for people that aren't familiar, tiebreaker math isn't that complicated. It's if you're capable of playing Magic at a proficient level competitively, you're plenty capable of understanding tiebreaker math. All tiebreaker math is doing is running through the possible permutations that could result from the last round of like the top 6 to 8 tables playing. Yeah, I'd encourage you to never watch anything that Desolator Magic has made. He's one of those people that creates videos for the sake of that posts nonsense for the sake of generating clicks. Most of his videos get watched because people are like, oh my god, this is so stupid, why would anyone say this? Clickbait. They're clickbait. Yep. Yeah, we are a little bit choked on blue mana. You're not wrong. Yeah, I don't know. There's Yep. In. This is gonna be a real good turn. ID stands for intentional draw, for those that are not familiar with the term. So, for people that aren't familiar with competitive tournament Magic, which some of you might not be, in paper competitive tournament Magic, it is legal for you to offer your opponent a draw, and draws, whether intentional or unintentional in paper Magic, award you 1 match point, whereas wins award you 3 and losses award you 0. So mathematically speaking, in the last round or last 2 rounds of a tournament, you can make determinations that allow you to see, well, if my opponent and I draw here, we're both guaranteed to make the single elimination rounds, whereas if you don't draw, you might not be. Like, there are situations where if you both draw, you both make top 8, but if you play, the winner makes top 8 and the loser misses, which the expected value play in that situation is, of course you draw, right? Because why would you want to knock one of these 2 people out of top 8 when you could both guarantee it, right? So most reasonable people that understand mathematics will draw when it makes sense to draw like that. We've tried some Roscoe, but they've ended up being awkward. Yeah, Arcanist is a wizard. Entrancing Melody is so good against, Sister Bedelia. Yes, Greaseball. So if we can pump this to a 2nd point of power, we can flush this back. Thanks for the reminder on State of the Beta. Alright, so let's do a quick wrap on this so I don't put the State of the Beta in the middle of a thing. So, to wrap on Blue-Red Wizard before we dive into the State of the Beta, I do appreciate the reminder. I was actually kind of impressed with this deck. I was, honestly, going in, I was kind of expecting a bit of a dumpster fire, and this ended up feeling a lot better than it actually looked on paper. We felt very reasonable against both the red and white aggro decks there, and we were able to just straight up run down the Nexus player that we played against. I'm not 100% certain if this card is worth playing. The Scry does seem appealing, so I think if you wanted to try this deck and tune it a little bit more, I would recommend playing a couple Burning Prophets over this Viashino Pyromancer, just to, like, see how that feels. This would probably make your aggressive matchups even better. I'm not sure if I'm in the market for Lava Runner. Just like a 2/2 on the ground that, like, gets stonewalled, I'm not sure if I want that. I feel like that might be pushing us too much in the direction of bad mono red. Another comment that I have was, I ended up only playing 1 of this card in this deck, but I kind of felt like I was short on ways, especially in the post-board games where I was like trimming Warlord's Fury, on ways to pump this up meaningfully with only 5 of these. So I honestly might try a second Naru, just as like another threat that like also makes all my wizards a little bit bigger. She didn't seem completely unreasonable. Also, because I have these cheap instants and sorceries, her enter play effect actually came up. Like, we had her fork a lightning strike at one point today. I think we forked something else to a shock, maybe. 20 lands might be high, but because we're playing a 2-color mana base, I only have 14 blue and 14 red. So, like, it's tough to play less lands than this and still have an appropriate number of blue and red sources to cast all of our spells consistently. So, I think I'd rather run the risk of flooding a little bit. And honestly, if you're worried about hitting too many lands with the number of cantrips we have, adding more Naru in as a little bit more power at the top end seems not unreasonable. Alright, let's look at the state of the beta, shall we? Let me get my stuff set up here. You're gonna see, I try to keep politics off the stream, but I watch Stephen Colbert, and I forget this dude's name, so you're gonna see those real quick here in my recommendeds. Playback. Hey, Toa. Thanks for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully that didn't blow out anyone's ears. I think it's okay.
Hello, and welcome to the Magic the Gathering Arena Developer Update. This month, we are bringing a brand new event series to Magic the Gathering Arena called Chronicles.
Fun fact, this is actually the wife of the guy that I grew up drafting with in college. We used to draft in his parents' basement like once a month or twice a month. It was a good time. She played with us too for a while.
And to tell you more about this, we are joined by our digital product manager and Boros Legionnaire, Lee Sharp.
Hi, we're going to be doing 5 weeks of events, the War of the Spark Chronicles, that will tell the story of War of the Spark. Each event will feature a different format. One of my main responsibilities on MTG Arena is to create the events that all of you get to play. I'm excited that for these events we'll be using a new structure that doesn't eliminate you for losses. As you win games, you'll be able to earn more rewards regardless of how many losses you have. So keep playing and keep earning more rewards. During the War of the Spark Chronicles events, we are excited to bring you the 36 stained glass Planeswalker art styles. These glass styles will be available through codes, in the events, or in the store.
That's right, we'll be adding all 36 glass styles to Magic the Gathering Arena. Sorry, Tezzeret. In addition, you can get even more cosmetics in the store, including card sleeves and avatars. And every week, you can tune in to some of your favorite streamers as they play these new Chronicles. The Mythic Championship Qualifier Weekend is fast approaching. On May 25th and 26th, the top-ranked players from Ravnica Allegiance Season 1 and Season 2 will be competing to earn one of the 16 spots in the first ever Arena Mythic Championship. If you were one of the top-ranked players in the Ravnica Allegiance Season 1 or Season 2, be sure to check out the link in the description for all the information you need on how you can get one of those 16 spots that will qualify you for the first ever Mythic Championship in Arena. The update will be available Thursday, May 23rd, so be sure to keep an eye on our status page for the latest information on maintenance times. As always, you can follow us at @MTG_Arena for even more information. Thank you once again for joining us, and we'll see you in game.
That didn't mention anything about round timers. Did they mention that? Wow, I can't believe they didn't mention this in the YouTube video. So, best of 3 match clock. Speaking of the Mystic Championship Qualifier Weekend, we'll also be implementing match clock in addition to our turn timers for best of 3 formats. Anonomic, thank you for the 8-month resub. Yeah, they usually, I'm surprised they just mentioned this as an afterthought. Maybe they made the YouTube video early and then realized they were going to get these things in. Each player will have 30 minutes on their respective match clock that will count down whenever the player has priority for a total of 60 minutes per match between the 2 players, excluding sideboarding. If a player uses all of their allotted time before the match finishes, the given match will be a loss regardless of the record. The players will be able to mouse over their timer to see the current time remaining on their match clock and will automatically be visible once their match time starts to run low. Wow, that's kind of weird. It doesn't show it. It doesn't show it, So, folks in chat, I almost timed out another match earlier. I'd encourage you to just, like, not comment on, like, the appearance or the mannerisms of people that are just, like, that are talking and stuff like that. Just, like, no need to be rude. And if you don't think it was rude, it's kind of rude, so just, like, don't do it. So, yeah, so round timers are great. It doesn't sound like in here that they're going to be getting rid of the per action timer, which is a good finish. So long as there's still a per action timer, I think chess clocks are fine. My only worry is if they move to, I hope they're not moving to a pure chess clock like we have on MTGO, because waiting people to take 10 minutes to take a single action is like completely rancid. In addition to our, oh, it does say in addition to, doesn't it? I think I read that. In addition to our turn timers. That's perfect. It does say that, actually. Thank you for the clarification. Good. That's perfect. I think that's great. Sounds like the best of both worlds. Prompt people to play quickly, but also, like, have the match actually end, which is great. Basic land filter. To wrap things up, we're happy to announce the May update will be adding the long-awaited feature, the ability to choose basic lands, illustrations, while deck building. Look at that. Look at all of those. Beautiful. Perfect. All right, sweet. Back to Magic. Back to Magic.